Well, let's start with FlySafair. They've issued an apology to passengers facing disruptions due to a pilot strike that has led to some flight cancellations. The industrial action involving about 200 FlySafair pilots affiliated with trade union Solidarity has caused frustrations at OR Tambo International Airport as well as Lanseria Airport. The pilots are demanding a 10.5% salary increase, while the employer is offering 5.7%. So Katlego was at OR Tambo yesterday. Today he's coming to us from Lanseria, obviously being based in Johannesburg. Those are the ones that we're focusing in on here right now. Katlego, talk to us. I mean, I know Lanseria, there are very few other flights on offer besides FlySafair. Talk to us.
A very good morning to you, Leanne, and to our viewers at home. You're right. This morning you find us at the Lanseria International Airport, just tracking the impact of the FlySafair strike on operations in terms of these airports that have been affected. Remember yesterday, the airline reporting that there's been 26 of those flights that have since been cancelled, that impacting hugely the commuters, the passengers that were traveling out of OR Tambo International Airport. Here where we are today, the Lanseria International Airport is an airport whereby FlySafair is the only airline that operates here, and you can imagine that they would be the ones that are more or less bearing so much of the brunt coming from the strike action by the pilots. You're right to say that yesterday we saw the airline apologizing as they push to find each other with the pilots. As of tomorrow, they'll be sitting down again in front of the CCMA to try by all means to find each other in bridging this impasse. But as those talks are anticipated on the ground, there are frustrations with a lot of passengers looking to see how they are going to be affected by this 2-week strike action, if indeed it stretches all the way to 2 weeks. So this morning I'm going to invite into the conversation Christian Fourie, who's joining us from Lanseria, who'll just give us a sense of the impact of this strike action. I know that there are flights that have been cancelled even from here, Lanseria, following the announcement by FlySafair, and they are the only ones that operate here. So one wonders as to how did you plan, for accommodating the passengers that will be coming through, but at the same time ensuring that you safeguard the business. Welcome to the SABC, Christian.
Katlego, yes, thank you. Yes, we've had some impact yesterday especially. We had 3 flights cancelled, but FlySafair has kept us informed in the entire process. So they did advise us that there would be some flight cancellations. What happened is that at the last minute, though, some of their contingency plans didn't happen, and we had some passengers that arrived here that needed to be rebooked of those three flights. Today we only have 2 cancellations, and that's out of 12 to 15 that we do daily with FlySafair. So they've kept us well informed throughout the process. We've been able to manage it, and actually it's only impacted really our Cape Town flights. Our Durban and George destinations have not been impacted at all.
From yesterday coming into today, do you get a sense from the passengers that they too were aware of this strike action? Have you also had to take extraordinary measures to ensure that at least you allay fears, but also you manage the frustrations that would come through from this strike action?
We haven't really had irate passengers or difficult passengers. As I said, we had of 2 of the flights yesterday morning, they had to be rebooked, and that process took about 2 hours or so. So for that batch of passengers, there was probably some animosity. But by mid-morning, we were clear. And as you can see by the ticketing office on the other side, there's no one there. There's nothing, and everyone is now well informed as to what the requirements are, as to whether they need to come to the flights or not. And you can see behind me, everything is running smoothly. Our next flight is around 10 o'clock this morning, and everything is quite smooth.
Yeah, that's what we suspected, because when walking in here, you can see that it's a bit empty. It's actually, there was only 1 passenger here when we arrived, and one was wondering as to, is this an ordinary, operation in terms of, Lanseria? On an ordinary, would you expect to see people here? And one wonders if indeed then there are those passengers that decided to stay away or gauge as to how the talks are going so that they can move better.
No, well, FlySafair is keeping in direct contact with the passengers whose flights are affected. So they're well informed now as to whether they need to come to their flights or not. That's the first thing. So that's why you're not seeing any congestion behind us. We normally do between 12 and 15 flights a day. And this time of the day is actually our off-peak period, because all the morning rush has already left. And the later afternoon will only start, towards the afternoon. The ones that you are seeing now is only for one flight at 10 o'clock, and then the next one is at 12 o'clock.
All right. Christian, thank you very much for giving us your time. Christian Fori, just joining us here, and you hear them. Really, they are affected somewhat as a business here, looking at the fact that FlySafair is the only airline that is operating here. But we are starting to see several people walking in here. And as we go into the day, we'll try grab some passengers as well to get a sense of how are they planning, looking at the fact that there is a strike action that is underway by the pilots belonging to Solidarity. Leanne?
All right, Katlego, thank you. Thanks so much. He's coming to us live from Lanseria Airport.